Arthur: Legend of the Sword is directed by Guy Ritchie and stars Charlie Hunnam and Jude Law. So this movie is basically an origin story of King Arthur and Excalibur, how his uncle kills his father and seizes his power over the kingdom until one day Arthur pulls the legendary sword Excalibur from stone, proving he's the rightful heir to the throne. So this is a story that's been done in movies in the past. Some have been good, some have been bad, and for me, this movie falls in the bad category. I'm sorry. I didn't like this movie. I know there's some YouTube reviewers out there that like this movie far more than I did, but I just couldn't get over the problems I had with it. Now, I didn't hate everything about this film. There were some things I found I liked about it, so let's just get into those before I get into the list of things I didn't like. I actually like the look and feel of this film. The color palette that Guy Ritchie uses fits this world really well, and the fantasy element just added on top of it. There's been magic in a couple of Arthur films in the past, but the magic in this film is like in the forefront, and I really like that part about it. The CG was better than I thought it was going to be. There were some scenes where it was a little bit more noticeable, and there were a couple of times that I felt was a little bit unnecessary, especially in the final scene in the movie. It kind of made it feel like a boss battle in a video game. But overall, the CG was pretty good. I actually thought it was impressive in some cases. And then there's Jude Law, who for me had the best performance, and he was the only character I felt anything for. And that's one of the things I'll get into a little bit later on in this video. But for him to get what he wants, he has to sacrifice something. No spoilers, but the second time he does this, he has this really emotional moment, and it's really the only time in the movie that I was really like feeling anything for one of the characters, and it's kind of a shame when you feel for the villain instead of the hero. But unfortunately, the bad definitely outweighs the good in this film, and one of the things I just didn't like about this movie was the character of Arthur, and he's supposed to be the hero. It's kind of a shame. But I mean, Charlie Hunnam does a pretty good job with his character, but I think the problem I have is that when I think of King Arthur, I think of this noble leader, and he does the right thing just because it's, it's the right thing to do, and, Arthur in this movie does do the right thing, but he comes off as a wise ass, and it just didn't fit what I normally think of this character. I mean, it's good for some heroes like, Han Solo from Star Wars or Hawkeye from the Avengers, but for what I think Arthur should be, it just doesn't fit, and I just didn't like the direction they took this character, and that's mostly my problem, but I don't know, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the direction they took Arthur. And as far as Hunnam's supporting cast goes, they all did a pretty good job. Littlefinger from Game of Thrones in this movie, he did a pretty good job. And like I said before, I really didn't care about anyone in this movie, and that has a lot to do with the writing. They really skipped Arthur's childhood, and for me that would have been a perfect opportunity to get attached to this character, because he's supposed to have this really rough upbringing. He grows up in a brothel, and he gets involved in street gangs and things like that, and becomes really streetwise, and that would have been great to see, and just take a moment and just stop and see him actually grow in front of your eyes, and it really would have gotten you attached to this character. But they really just skip over and gloss over into this quick editing, and for me that was the worst part about this film, was the editing. I absolutely hated the editing in this film. There were several scenes in this movie that had that Guy Ritchie flavor, when characters would describe how a scene would go down, and as they talk about it, it unfolds in front of you. And there were some points where it did work for me, but then they kept doing it over and over, and I just felt in certain places, if they would have just stopped and slowed down and actually showed you what happens and have it unfold traditionally, you would have gotten attached more to Arthur and cared about what is happening to him. But to me, this movie just felt like a 2-hour long trailer, and and I think they had to do, if they had so much to tell and they had to cram it in to 2 hours. For me, this would have been a very, very good 3-hour long movie, but they just chose to cut everything down into these really quick sequences, and I didn't like it. I just absolutely hated the editing in this film. And when I first saw the trailer of this film and I heard Guy Ritchie was directing it, I was kind of concerned whether his style would kind of meld well with this genre. And I normally like his style. I really like Sherlock Holmes, and Man from U.N.C.L.E. had some problems, but overall I really enjoyed it, and his style was really good for those films. But unfortunately for me, I just didn't feel like his normal directing style and this quick cuts and the quippy jokes really fit this movie, and I don't know, I didn't like his style in this movie. I really felt like a more traditional style of storytelling would have fit this movie better. So there were a few things I liked about this movie. The action is entertaining. I like the look and feel of the film. I like the fantasy element of this film that elevated the lore of the story. But the bottom line is, I just didn't like this movie. I didn't care about the characters. The editing just completely cripples any opportunity for you to get attached to the characters, and it was just painful to watch at times. So I'm giving King Arthur Legend of the Sword 2 out of 5 stars. So there's some big movies coming out this summer, and you can save some money by signing up for MoviePass. With MoviePass, you can see a movie every 24 hours for a flat monthly fee. Except over 93% of theaters nationwide, MoviePass now offers plans starting as low as $14 a month. So sign up today by following the link in the description. So, King Arthur Legend of the Sword. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? If you didn't like the movie like I did, let me know what your favorite King Arthur movie is in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video, and consider following me on social media. If you're new to the channel, help me reach 1,000 subscribers by giving that subscribe button a click. As always, thank you for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and see more videos. Bye, Andrew.